segment with Olin Buchanan of TexAgs.com is sponsored by Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness. With over 40 group exercise classes Monday through Sunday on Lakeshore Drive in Waco.
All right, here we go. Sikkim 365 Radio, 365 on YouTube. Olin Buchanan covers Texas A&M for TexAgs.com. And my goodness, Olin, so much has happened. We could try to get to some of it. But let's, right now, look at the football team. Where are they, and what is the timeline of when they find out who their starting quarterback might be?
Well, as far as I know, they may know. They're just not announcing. I would not be surprised at all if Jimbo waited until, game week to announce. But nor would I be surprised if he told us sometime next week. I mean, we're obviously getting close. So I think that's some information that he's going to release in the obviously not too distant future. But as far as whether they're going to go with Zach Calzada or Haynes King, I personally would bet on Haynes King, but I would not be able to venture to guess exactly when Jimbo's going to announce it. But, it could be as early as this Saturday. But I'd be more inclined to think it'll be closer to game week.
What do you think is the separation between the two of them if he does go with Haynes King?
Just the overall athleticism. We were in this position about 3 years ago when you had the big, strong-armed Nick Starkel and the more mobile Kellen Mond, and I think you're in the same position. You got the more mobile Haynes King, who's even faster than Kellen. In fact, I think he may be the second fastest player on the team. Now I'll say this: Zach Calzada is more athletic and nimble than Nick Starkel was. So with him, you have a guy with a big arm that can also get you some yards. But Haynes is the kind of guy that if nobody's open, he decides to tuck it. He might go 50 yards.
So, Olin, outside of the quarterback race, I mean, this is a team that seems pretty loaded for bear, and the preseason rankings, show that as well. A lot of the offseason talk shows that. Is this the team that's ready to go all the way? Is this a team that's going to be in the thick of contention, you think, from start to finish?
Well, I think it's a team that definitely has more than just a little bit of a potential to be in the playoff discussion at the end of the year. Now, until they show they can beat Alabama, I think you have to assume, Alabama is going to be the pick, and rightly so. But I do believe that this year that the talent gap between A&M and Alabama is narrower than it has maybe ever been, including the 2012 team when A&M won. So I think the schedule sets up pretty well. You do get Alabama at home. Not that bothers them. They're used to playing in the biggest and most hostile environments, but it's still, you take any edge you can get. And I do think that A&M has a team that can go into that game expecting to win instead of just, hoping everything will go right and they'll win.
All right. So the expectations we know are insane, right? They're where they should be because of who they were. Jimbo Fisher has lineage and heritage and all the other things you want to say, producing the national championship, also on the LSU staff. How much confidence, because it's him as head coach, in what A&M can do, not only this year, what they've done last year, but what they can do going forward?
Yeah, I think that's where it all starts with Fisher. I mean, last year they were not ready to open the season against Vanderbilt, and then they lose significantly, like everybody did, just about at Alabama, and then they come back and beat Florida, but they lose their number one deep threat at receiver. So they had to start moving things around, and you have a coach that says, "Hey, the best way for this team to win is to control the ball and wear teams down and win the fourth quarter," because they didn't have the deep threat anymore. And so that's what they were able to do. I think this is a guy that can take the talent that's available to him and find the best way to use it. And this year, I do think they're going to have more big play ability, so they're not going to have to rely on the running game as heavily as they did last year, but it's good to know you have it if you need it.
How much confidence do they have, with this, Texas and Oklahoma coming the SEC? If this happens pre-Jimbo Fisher, I'm sure more A&M fans would go into panic mode and a meltdown. But because they do have Jimbo Fisher and that they are ahead of Texas right now when it comes to the development and the place their program is.
Yeah, I think A&M's at a place, and I don't mean to be flippant about this. I really don't. But I think they're at a place where their focus, and I'm sure you can understand this, is on Alabama and LSU. Now, obviously, when Texas and Oklahoma enter the conference, those are two programs that have done a lot in the past, and one of them in the present. But when you're playing in the division that has the defending national champion and the champion before that, I think that's where 100% of your attention goes until it has to change. But I think also, and again, this isn't meant to be flippant, but when you've been playing LSU and Auburn and Alabama and sometimes Georgia on a yearly basis, I don't know that you fear Texas or Oklahoma. You certainly respect them, but I think you just look at it as, hey, here's two more opponents that's going to come into this grind.
So, Olin, you've been around college football a long time. You've covered realignments before. What were your thoughts when that report first came out, and just all of the craziness that we've been experiencing since that dropped last month?
My original thought was, oh, crap, I got to delete this column and start on another one.
Yeah.
Because I was about halfway through one column at SEC Media Days. I'm saying, hey, Zerneman, can't you give me a heads up? You don't have to tell me what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was surprised because we knew about the, quote, gentleman's agreement between Mike Slide, the former SEC commissioner, and Bowen Lofton, the former A&M president, that A&M would be the only SEC team in Texas. But, of course, Mike Slide passed away a few years ago, and Greg Sankey opted not to honor that. And, you can also understand it with all the money at stake. But, in the past, there's been this agreement between Kentucky and South Carolina and Florida that they would always vote against another team coming in from their state coming in. But I guess in this case, first of all, A&M being the new guy, didn't command as much respect from the old guard, and quite frankly, there's just too much money on the table for everybody to turn, to just decide, no, we're going to take care of A&M here. And plus, you also got to remember, it's not the coaches and athletic directors that are making that call. It's the president's chancellors.
Yeah, and no matter what, and we've said this from the beginning, something the Big 12 never had was, even with A&M having a little bit of an argument there, or even someone else, they were unanimous. They figured it out. They get along. Whatever's best for the conference, it's best for all of them. And that was an amazing switch in about a week or two. Olin, good luck. We'll have you again as always. Appreciate your time on A&M. Thanks for your time. Olin Buchanan from TexAgs.com with us on Sikkim 365 Radio. When we come back, a couple of notes, including we will also then visit Notre Dame. Pete Sampson. There is a 202 area code who has been on the text line with me back and forth for quite some time on Notre Dame coverage. We had just a couple of weeks ago a Notre Dame writer, and Pete Sampson will join us from theathletic.com as well. Then Oklahoma at 4:30. And this